Let's bring in our political editor, Andrew Clennell. And Andrew, the Prime Minister confirming this morning your report on this program yesterday that the government was heading in the direction of a diplomatic boycott against China over ahead of the Beijing Games next year.
Yes, Kieran, and after the US did it, it didn't take a lot of phone calls to establish that was our likely path as well. It's a diplomatic boycott. It's not the athletes not attending, it's not the team not attending. So one wonders how much weight it actually has, particularly when our officials and ministers don't even have any contact with the Chinese government as it is. But it came on the day that this interesting story appeared in the Daily Telegraph. Let's have a look at it again. And it went to these allegations that China was involved in this cyber hack on power companies in Queensland that run power for 3 million homes, and speculation the hack could have led to those homes losing power. Well, senior government people have told us it wasn't actually China involved in this. It was a criminal gang. Cyber experts have told us it's probably a Russian criminal gang. That's not to say that the country of China, the government, is not involved from time to time in cyber hacks. And as we heard from a cyber expert earlier on the program, it's often in retaliation for things that Australia says and does that China doesn't like. But let's hear Scott Morrison address both issues here. He makes it clear, or at least he points to the fact that non-state actors can be involved in cyber attacks, and he makes it clear that in making the decision on the diplomatic boycott, it's not just about the treatment of the Uyghurs, it's also about trade sanctions and the Chinese government not speaking to us.
It will come as no surprise that the Australian government will not be sending any official representatives to the forthcoming Winter Games in China. For some time, people have been very aware that we have been raising a number of issues that have not been received well in China. We have been very pleased and very happy to talk to the Chinese government about these issues, and there's been no obstacle to that occurring on our side. But the Chinese government has consistently not accepted those opportunities. Australian athletes will, though. Australia's a great sporting nation, and I very much separate the issues of sport and these other political issues.
Do you see muscling up to China as being to your political benefit? You just painted yourself there as the strong government in terms of China. And how does that play in seats like Banks and Reid, which have large numbers of Chinese Australians?
I'm doing it because it's in Australia's national interest. It's the right thing to do. Full stop. The threats that Australia faces in the cyber world are not limited to state actors, and I'm not making any comment on the source or origin of the reports today. But I would stress that it's not only state-based actors that engage in these activities, but criminals do, with ransomware and things of that nature. And in this particular case, what I can say is that the Australian government took early action in engaging with those who are directly under threat.
The Telegraph reported it was China and they were looking to shut down power stations. You just spoke about non-state actors. Can you confirm it was the Chinese government involved in this alleged attack?
I was very clear, Andrew, that I wasn't drawing any conclusions about the origins of this, and nor would I.
Robert Potter's a cyber expert who used to work for the Australian government. He has a good reputation in the field, and he says all the evidence points to the fact that this particular attack wasn't the Chinese government.
Is it the Chinese government responsible?
I'm not seeing too much evidence of that at the moment. However, there is evidence that the malware matches groups regularly used by Russian organised crime gangs, and a Russian organised crime gang known to use that malware claim responsibility for this particular attack on the 27th of November.
So Robert Potter said that there are criminal attacks and government attacks. The criminal attacks are much more common. The government attacks are much more sophisticated, and they can be in retaliation for example, Australian policies on China, or perhaps calling for an independent inquiry into the origins of COVID, those sort of things that has upset that country. Here he is talking about that possibility too after this boycott, that there could be some retaliation in the cyber world because of this.
China's very active in cyberspace. Every time we as a country do something to annoy them, generally their cyber attacks go up. We did a lot of research on that we've published that shows when we make diplomatic announcements that annoy Beijing, that oftentimes they'll increase their level of scanning to express their displeasure as a way of signalling to us